Hey, small group leaders, man, I am so excited for this Sunday as we're getting into another week of our series, Table of Context. We're going to do things a little bit differently this weekend because we have a guest speaker, the one, the only Matt Conrad. He's going to be speaking for our middle schoolers. And having two speakers, we're going to do a little bit something different with our arrangement. Our night is going to go as normal up until when we split our middle school and high school. Middle school, you guys are going to go straight into the message and then small groups. The reason for that is, as honestly and transparently as I can be, our middle school boys are wild. And I've been talking with a bunch of staff members this week about some ideas that possibly could work. So I'm going to jump in with the middle school boys group and we're going to try a couple of things. I think that it can be really helpful. But considering that I can't be in two places at once, which is obnoxious, that's why that's going to play out that way. So please bear with us this week as it'll be our one time being a little bit different. When we have teachers, when we have guest speakers who jump in, we'll still run our regular routine, or we'll still do small groups for middle school, and then we'll do the sermon. But this week is going to be our kind of one exception with that. So what are we doing this week? Where are we headed with this, our second to last week in the series Table of Context? We're going to be talking about how does the Bible benefit our lives? We've talked so much about how it changes us and how it's a mystical spiritual book that God wrote and that we have to do a lot of the hard work on the front end of understanding the context and the situations within it. But this week we're going to get into okay, so how does it actually impact my life? And we're going to kind of draw a difference of analogies because there's one analogy that gets used in Psalm 119 that is so perfect. The author of the psalm says, "Your word is a lamp to my feet." And we're going to be drawing on this analogy and contrasting it with the idea of a magic 8-ball or GPS. This idea that so often we come to scripture and we're like, I need the exact answer for my situation exactly right now. And then we open up the Bible and it's like, well, that's not helpful. Because that's never what it was designed to do. Instead, it was designed to illuminate around us and to give us principles that we can then move forward in any and every situation as it changes. A lamp doesn't tell you exactly what to do. It gives you the principles. It lets you see the world as it is and guides you in that way. And that's exactly how the Bible operates. I wish, currently me and my wife are apartment hunting. I wish so desperately that I could crack open scripture and be like, okay, God, where do you want us to live? What financial decisions do you want us to do? But that's not in there at all. There is a lot of stuff about generosity and wisdom and how to move through life in a way that you honor God. But then I can just extrapolate that into my life. And so that's where we're going to be going this week, is trying to calm some of those frustrations with scripture and say, we're coming to scripture asking it to be a thing that it isn't, that it can't be, because it's written to all people, all nations of all time. So I'm really, really excited for where we're going with it this week. As you are getting ready for your small group, I would beg you, please look at convos before Sunday, see kind of where the discussion is more or less pointed. If you have any feedback about how we can be improving the questions before Sunday rolls out, then shoot me a text, shoot me an email, drop something and group me, and I would love to change that stuff before it gets rolled out. But basically what you're trying to do this Sunday is, again, we're still encouraging students to be reading scripture, maybe even memorizing scripture for some of our kids, but we're going to be really focusing on the reality that sometimes reading the Bible is frustrating because it's not doing the thing that we want it to do. And we're just going to kind of have a moment to where it's hey, that's okay. It happens to all of us. But then showing that scripture is so much bigger than just our immediate issues at hand. So that's where we're headed with even our small groups. One of the things that I want to let you know of for sure is we have everything live for our registration for winter camp. If you can make it to winter camp, I have a link down below underneath all of the sermon notes and everything. But if you can make it to winter camp and you would like to be there, please register. This will help me stay sane so that I'm not having to juggle, oh yeah, and so said they would be there, but I can have it written down. That's so incredibly helpful. It costs you absolutely nothing. You would just be there to hang out with students, guide them through small group times, and get to throw snowballs into kids' faces, which is always just so good for the heart. So that's the things that coming up that I want to make sure that you are aware of. We've got our corn maze coming up. If you can come to that, please register as well. Again, there's a spot for you to sign up as a volunteer, as a leader. It costs you nothing. So I would love just to have you come with us. Guys, I love getting to serve with you. I love the way that you are pouring out into these students and everything that you are doing. And I cannot wait to serve with you again this Sunday night.